Aravind Swaminathan joins us now. He is the lead partner for regulatory and enforcement at Orrick. It's really nice to have you. Thanks for taking the time this morning.
Thanks, J.D.
So you are not your typical law firm. Talk to me about how you and your colleagues have gone about really building what is seemingly equal parts great law firm and really kind of a cyber powerhouse as well.
Yeah, I mean, so the sort of bread and butter for us is tech and innovation. And it's something that we really pride ourselves on, the thinking about how we use technology to improve what we do. And that naturally dovetails with the cyber practice. So when you meet our lawyers, they're not technological Luddites. Like, we understand the tech, we can have conversations with technical folks. And it puts us in a very different position to be able to help clients through whatever crisis that they're managing at that current time, because we can actually talk the talk and walk the walk. So you get part lawyer, you get part technologist, and it just delivers a much more seamless experience for clients. There's not a lot of translation that's going on, and it allows for a much faster response and better advice at the end of the day.
You've handled hundreds of breaches. Talk to me about a few of the mistakes you still see companies making far too often.
I think the thing that we see companies making mistakes in is thinking about what their values are first. Not thinking about risk, not thinking about what's happening in the network or the money or the litigation. It's what is our values to our customers? Because at the end of the day, this is about trust. And you have to lean into that concept. And so what we tell clients is it's really hard to make decisions in a crisis, especially in a cyber crisis where you have imperfect information that's constantly evolving. How do you do that? How do you do that consistently and effectively? And the best thing to do is look at your mission, vision, values and think about what is your North Star? Who do you care about? What do you want your image to be in the public? And if you look at that, you kind of can't make a bad decision. It's very difficult to do, but if you keep asking yourself, I don't know what to do in this moment, but I do know what my mission, vision, values is because we live it every day. And if I think about what that dictates my decision-making, it makes the path a lot clearer and it gets to better results.
CISOs now face more and more personal responsibility. How is that impacting boardroom conversations?
Well, the first thing is it's the talent pool, right? I mean, the talent pool that we have is declining precipitously on the security ends. And I think what you end up in the boardroom is two impacts. One is you don't have the qualified professionals you need for organizations who can then talk to the boards and can bridge that gap between just being a security professional and being an executive. That's number one. Number two is because of that risk that they face and because of the declining talent pool, they don't, the security professionals and the board are struggling to get the right type of advice. It's an enterprise-wide thing because the CISOs are concerned with their own personal liability. They don't want to make a mistake. And it tends to be then you end up in this very conservative position, whereas companies need someone to think outside the box and be creative. And that's what they're worried is going to get them into trouble.
You challenged the Joseph Sullivan case, that's the Uber CSO case, all the way up to the Supreme Court, if I'm not mistaken. Talk to me a little bit about that case as you reflect on it a few years later, and why do you think that has kind of stood the test of time and really mattered so much for the industry?
Well, look, Joe's case is the only case on record where a CISO was prosecuted criminally in connection with a data breach. But that is about livelihood. It's not about money. It's not about my job. It's about whether you go to jail or not. And I think that has dramatically impacted the CISO community in this position of like, I don't want to take that risk on. It's not worth it to them. They're already working. They're already overworking constantly, right? They're on 24/7. Every crisis is a crisis to them. And they don't have the ability to take on that risk. And so we took Joe's case on and we're still continuing to move it up to the Supreme Court, largely because we believe really firmly that the CISO community needs defenders, needs people to stand up for them and their position and change the landscape so that those professionals who are managing risk every day don't face personal risk. That's the key, because if they can then say, it's not about me personally and my personal risk, they can be more focused on the companies and doing the job better. Right now, they're trying to sort of battle on two fronts, and it's driving out the best talent in the industry, and it's putting us in a position of people not focused on what they need to be focused on. So we got to take the risk for them personally off the table, deal with the corporate risk, deal with the security risk, and let that move forward.
For companies that are considering going public, they're looking at the IPO roadshow process early on, what are some of those best tips you would give them in terms of heightening their own cyber awareness ahead of a potential IPO?
Well, I think the thing that to understand is that even notwithstanding the fact that what happened in the SolarWinds prosecution by the SEC is still out there and there's still requirements for what you have to do. And although it sounds pretty easy when you read it on paper, oh, if you have a material incident, disclose it within four days. It's not. What is material? What does that mean? And so really it's about practicing and exercising what an incident is going to look like before you actually have an incident. Because there are some complicated decisions that may have to be made, particularly in the vein of like, are you going to seek the safe harbor, right, under the securities rule? What does that look like? How are you going to do that? What are the considerations around what materiality is, especially for a new company that hasn't sort of gone through that process of having real good muscle memory on like, no, we know what materiality is, right? We've been through this before, because they do it in all sorts of different things. It's not just in security, right? Materiality is materiality. So part of that is getting ready for that muscle memory so that when the moment comes and you actually have to make those decisions, you have practice. You have deep knowledge and deep awareness and a fundamental understanding for who the company is so that when it comes time to make that decision, you can make it efficiently and thoughtfully without a lot of hand-wringing about like, is this right, is this wrong? So don't let it be a surprise. So that's about practice and preparation.
How are you thinking about the convergence between physical and digital security in today's ecosystem?
So I think this is the most important risk that we face today. Just to summarize, the threat actors have gone from just threats that are, we'll embarrass you, we'll do this with your data, we'll attack your systems, to manifesting that into physical risk for our people and our customers. So the incidence of swatting is up, we see incidents of harassment is up. And so what we're looking at is how do you bring together the physical security team and the digital security team? Years ago, they were under the same roof. And you had a chief security officer that had both. Both of them were her remits. Today, they're not that way. You have a physical security team often and a digital security team, and you have to bring those together. It requires more cooperation, more collaboration, more understanding of what those risks are and how we'll address them. Everything from physical security to the building to security and protection for the executives who are likely going to be the targets if there's an incident.
Aravind, really grateful for your time. Thanks a lot for sitting down with us nice and early this morning here in San Francisco. It's good to talk with you.
Happy to do it, JD. Thanks a lot.